Volkswagen ID family is getting bigger and better when it comes to the design, the technology, and just all-round efficiency. And now we have the latest ID.7, and I'm sure you guys have seen this wrapped up underneath that QR code inspired wrap that they had before. But for the first time, we can actually see it, what it looks like without the wrap, and it looks fantastic in this color. Without getting too deep into it, let's start with the design, and then we can talk about the efficiency, and we can go on the inside as well and talk about the technology there. Unfortunately, this is still a prototype. It's not ready for the road yet, so we won't be able to drive this, but pre-orders will be open very soon, and we'll start seeing this, I reckon, Q4 of the year, we'll start seeing this on the road. But let's start with the design. So the design on this is all about being efficient. So they've designed it to allow for better airflow. So that way we have a low drag coefficient. We're looking at 0.23, which is really good for a very big car. Looking at the bonnet, is very sculptured, and there's nothing on this that's just by accident or just for the sake of it. Again, it's all about that efficiency, and we'll talk about that as well, because this has got some serious range on this. It's going to be available in the Pro and the Pro S versions. The Pro S will give you up to 435 miles projected on the WLTP, and the Pro will give you around 380 miles on the WLTP with a smaller battery, 77 kilowatt hour battery, and the top one is around 89, I think. Don't quote me on that. Again, as always, we'll leave our numbers on the screen so you get accurate figures. Back to the design, we have this slim ID light on the front. So it has all that design language that we've seen before in the ID family. And then we go on the front. I love this light bar here, this LED light bar, Volkswagen logo on there. On the front, we have this area that allows for, again, adds to that drag coefficient and efficiency and aerodynamic factor that it's got, because all the air just goes through there, cools things that needs to be cooled. We've got all the radar technology on the front there as well. And then we move further to the left here. We have our side curtain, the air curtain, that again just directs air in the right direction for the car, adding to how efficient this is going to be. Moving over to the side, this is a very long car. It's a long wheelbase car, and it's almost 5 meters long. And all that means is bigger and better space inside of the car. It is based on the MEB platform, which again, we've known the success story behind that. Even Ford is now borrowing that platform to produce their electric cars. So there must be something good about that. Looking at the wheels here, this is also aerodynamically friendly. As you can see on the design, this mirror as well is designed to help that as well. This area here just slightly comes out a little bit. Again, if you close your eyes for a minute, you can also see a bit of ID3 in there. It's just the design language is very, very similar to what we've seen before. It looks lovely. And then there's no handlebars popping out, again, adding to the efficiency. There's a light that pops out here as well, so you can easily see it projects on the floor, especially when it's dark. And then we go over to the back, we can see that short overhangs that we've got on here as well. It kind of slopes down on the back, which is nice. It makes it look compact, even though this is a very big, long vehicle. And then we move over to the back. We have our ID light there as well. The LED bar goes all the way across. I'm glad that actually functions, and it's not just a black bar doing nothing. The boot lid is kind of sticking out a little bit, again, adding to that drag coefficient when it sleeps, streams over, the air streams over the boot, and is integrated into that. Inside of this, we have around 530 liters of boot space, and this is big, it's wide. You got a big entry space, entry gap into the boot as well, which means this is very, very practical, easy to load items into the boot. And if I just move this way here, that's all my gym work done for the week. There's extra space underneath here, which you've seen before again, so you can store things, or you can remove that completely, so you get extra room in the boot. Underneath that, you get more room in there, which means you can probably store your charging cable in there as well. So this might go down as one of the most heavily practical cars that we've ever seen from Volkswagen. There's that little gap in there as well, so you can fold the seats down and you can still put stuff through that gap in the back seat there. And then before we go on this side, we have our charging port here, and depending on which you go for, the Pro or the Pro S, you'll be able to select. It has different charging speeds with the bigger battery supporting the super fast charge. They're both pretty fast anyway, but the speed will depend on which one you decide to go for. In the back seat, the story continues with the size and practicality of this. If I haven't spoken about this enough, the boot is massive, big entry space into it as well. But in the back seat here, it's quite impressive. There's plenty of knee room here, as you can see. This seat's actually in the front. It's in the right position that it'd be for the passenger in the front, which they also still have a massive legroom in there. So you can see how big this is. It's almost like a business lounge in here with plenty of space. I really love that. And the materials in here are all like sustainable materials. There's no real leather in here, which is really good. We have 2 USB-C ports here. You can also control the climate at the back for the passengers. We have our armrest through here with cup holders in there, gap there to get in the boot if you need to, or pass things through it. And we have no transmission tunnel. So again, plenty of room here. It's very, very, very practical. I just can't, I can't say it loudly enough. It's spacious, very, very spacious in here. Up front, we'll see some improvement in terms of technology. First up, we have this new 15-inch display, which is massive right in front of your face, but I think it kind of suits the car because, again, it's a very, very big car. Down here, we have 2 USB-C ports, wireless charging mat. We have a spot there for 2 cup holders. And in here, we can open it up for more space, which is so big, I can almost fit my whole arm in there, which is ridiculous. And you've got your something that you could use for cigarette or stuff like that. If you smoke, you can probably use it, or you can remove it completely and just make use of that whole space that you've got in there. The seats are quite comfortable, kind of hold you into place, which is really nice. And I think the material is nice and soft as well. So I really love what they've done there. One thing though, we still have here is this capacitive touch buttons on the steering wheel, which we don't really love. I don't really love, but it's still there. And on the door card as well, the control for the mirrors and, to control, locking and stuff like that, that's still there in the same way. But we do have actual buttons for the windows, which is really good. That used to annoy me so much. The mirrors, I don't have to control all the time, so that I can get over. That's no problem at all. One thing that's new here though, that we'll see in the ID range here, is the fact that these buttons, the sliders here are now illuminated, which means in the dark, before when we don't know what's going on, now we can actually see what's going on. I think it's the little things, which is cool. We've got the ambient lighting across here, which is again really good. The screen that used to be in front of us here with the gear shifter on there, that's moved as well. So we now have this slim profile instrument cluster, which is still very, very much visible to the driver, and our gear shift is still here. The light bar still goes across the front, which shows your charging progress and reacts to different things that you do, like emergencies and stuff like that. We have head-up display, but for the first time, as standard in here, we have augmented reality as well, which helps with the fact that, that brings me onto your, stop. Pausing the voice assistant. Thank you. See? So we now have IDA in here as well, which is pretty cool, which you can use to control different things. For example, you can tell it to, you can say your feet's cold and it will turn on the air conditioning for your feet to warm it up or for whatever reason. But back to that augmented reality, that display just looks really big in it. I know you guys can't see it from here, but it's big. It helps the fact that you don't see much here now. So all that information will be displayed on there, which I think is actually a smart move, to be honest. You get Harman Kardon sound system in here, which is, I think, 16 speakers or something like that, which is fantastic. It's going to be nice and loud and clear. Back to this display, actually, I talked about the ventilation. There's a smart feature in here which allows you to direct the air into whichever way you want it to direct it to by just sliding up. So if when you go into climate control, for example, you turn it on, so you're gonna hear it. And there's little sliders there which you can slide up and down, which shows the direction and where you want the air to actually blow. This is kind of similar to what I've seen before in the Tesla Model 3, which is something most people will probably compare this to anyway. But yeah, you can do that on here now, which is pretty cool. You want to know one thing that's also cool in here is the fact that if it was sunny, for example, and you sat in that corner and the sun is beaming that way and it's kind of hot on that side of the car can intelligently cool that side of the car and still keep the rest of the car in whatever temperature you want it to be, which is pretty smart. So the technology has improved a lot in here. You used to have swarm technology. This screen is a lot more responsive, which is cool. One thing that we don't have in this particular version here is a smart ceiling, which basically is just a panoramic sunroof that you can intelligently turn on and off, or you can just tap a button and it will just fill it up. You'll shade it up, and you just use this technology to make sure you can see outside if you want. And you can use that voice assistant as well to be like, I want to see the stars, and it will just clear out to let you see what's out there, which is pretty cool. So more on that 15-inch infotainment system. Before we go on that, we've got the illuminated sliders, as you can see there, for your volume and temperature. We've got this center button here, which you'll be familiar with if you use your smartphone, for example. You got the IDA voice assistant there, which you can use to control different things in the car. But if we go into this button here, it takes you to vehicle, which I should probably switch the ignition on for that. So if we go to that button again, You can see the options available, so you can control the head-up display positioning, interior monitoring, wiper, and all that charging information. If you've got charging there, you can see your battery capacity and so on. Pressing this here will give you all your applications, so all in little icons. We're used to this already in Volkswagens, in the ID series, for example. And here we can go to our assistance system, so we see what safety features are available. We've got lane assist there, we've got speed warning, attention monitor, drowsiness monitor, front assist for collision warning, travel assist is there as well, adaptive cruise control still there, and all these really cool features for your safety. If we go back here, we can go into air conditioning, so you can see there, you can see all the areas where you can start your air conditioning. What's also good about this is with your key in your pocket, you can approach the car and it will start to, ventilate the car, set the temperature, so you don't have to do much at all, which is really cool. Back on the main menu, we can go into driving profile, which allows us to select eco, comfort, sport, and individual. So that will change the characteristics of the way the car drives and handles on the road. And we scroll across, we go into aircon. Here, switch it on, and as I said earlier, you can move this around to direct where you want the air to be blowing, so which is really cool, right? So you can move this all along. And then you got these two quick buttons here for either side. So here you can quickly go to that area there, so it defaults to your chest, or you can press that so it goes over your shoulder. Again, really cool. And then you got all the smart there, so you can just say what you want, so fresh air, rapid heating, whatever you want, you can just quickly select all these things under smart. But this is very responsive, which I'm quite happy about, because you got the triple layer setup, the top bar for all the quick things, button bar for temperature, you got cooled seats as well as heated seats. You got seat massage as an extra if you want that as well, which is really cool. And before I forget to mention, this actually has their biggest battery so far in their passenger vehicle, so obviously minus the ID Buzz, because that's a bigger vehicle with big battery to power that on, but that's impressive. And in parking, we also have our park assist as well, so this can help you park very well. You can also record parking maneuvers. Look at that, you can even store them in memory, which is pretty cool. And as always, we have our parking camera, so you can see all around the studio we're currently filming this in. So yeah, really cool. Hey ID, my hands are cold.
Sorry, this is not currently possible. Please try again later.
I know it says that because this is a prototype, but actually that switched on the steering heating, so that's now getting heated up, and the ventilation, the climate control, everything switched on to actually warm me up. So that's everything you need to know about the new ID.7. As always, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those for you. And in the meantime, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.